at the shrine of Sri Hanuman established by him. This Chaturmasya program was organized by Chaturmasya Seva Samiti of Chennai City.
Thank you, Srimati Bhargavi Bindumadhavan, for making this short clipping. Now it is time to listen to the Amritavani of His Holiness Sri Sri Palimaru Swamiji.
कृष्णं वंदे मंतपाशधरं दिव्यार्भकाकृतिं शिखाबन्धत्रयोपेतं वैष्मी मध्वकराञ्चितम् आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाकृतिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति च मनोरथाः। समस्त गुरुभ्यो नमः। भारत भूमि परम पवित्र है। भारत देश में बहुत बहुत गंगा यमुना सरस्वती नदी बहती हैं। नदी अमेरिका लंदन में नदी बहती है, परंतु वहाँ कोई स्नान नहीं करते हैं। स्नान करने वाला नदी है तो वो भारत में ही है, दूसरा जगह में नहीं है। इसलिए भारत माता श्रेष्ठ माता ही है। उत्तर भारत में सारे भगवान का रूपों का अवतार हो गया। रामा अयोध्या में अवतार किए हैं, कृष्ण भगवान मथुरा में अवतार किए हैं। भगवान का अवतार उत्तर भारत में ही होगा। नदी गंगा यमुना सरस्वती सारे नदी उत्तर भारत में बहती है, परंतु वो जड़ नदी उत्तर भारत में बहती हैं, परंतु चेतन तीर्थ सब बहते हैं यह दक्षिण भारत में। शंकराचार्य जी ने, रामानुजाचार्य जी ने, मध्वाचार्य जी ने दक्षिण भारत में अवतार किए हैं। ये चैतन्य पूर्ण अवतार हैं। मध्वाचार्य जी ने सारे वेदों का, सारे पुराणों का, लक्ष्य श्लोक महाभारत का सारा सर्वस्व रूप में ग्रंथ किए हैं। उसका नाम सर्वमूल है। सर्वमूल में मध्वाचार्य जी ने कहते हैं ये गीता भाष्य ग्रंथ। इसमें कहते हैं वो गीता में क्या कहते हैं, लड़ाई करना, अर्जुना युद्ध करो कहते हैं। हमें आश्चर्य होगा वो तो कैसे धर्म होगा, युद्ध करना तो हमारे अभ्यास ही है। कृष्ण भगवान ने यह सिखाया, गीता का सार क्या ही है। जगतगुरु श्री मध्वाचार्य जी ने कहते हैं स्वविहित वृत्तिया भक्त्या भगवदाराधनम परमो धर्म तद विरुद्ध सर्वोप्य धर्म। हमारे जो ड्यूटी है वो तो प्रामाणिक रूप में करना ही चाहिए। वो तो करने के समय वो ईश्वर प्रीत होना ऐसे चिंतन से करना ही चाहिए। एक एक आदमी को एक ही की धर्म ही है। वो टीचर हैं, वो सिखाते हैं, सिखाने उसका धर्म है। वो सिखाने छोड़कर मंदिर जाकर पूजा करो वैसा शास्त्र नहीं करेगा। वो तो जो सिखाता ही है वो सब प्रामाणिक से सिखाना चाहिए। वो सिखाने के समय या भगवान का आज्ञा ही है, या इससे भगवान प्रीत होगा ऐसे रूप से करेगा तो वो भी भगवान का बहुत श्रेष्ठ पूजा ही है। वो युद्ध करते हैं मिलिट्री लोग, वो तो सारे त्याग करके वो युद्ध करते हैं, सारे कुटुंब को छोड़कर वो युद्ध करते हैं। हमारे बड़ा प्रेम का समाचार है, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने दीपावली के समय में उनके साथ अपना उत्सव मनाते हैं। वो तो सब छोड़कर, परिवार छोड़कर वो युद्ध करते हैं। वो युद्ध करते हैं क्यों के लिए? उसका स्वार्थ नहीं है, सारे भारत माता का सेवा करते हैं। वैसे सारे लोग अपने अपने काम, अपने अपने धर्म मानते हुए वो भगवान के पूजा रूप से करना ही चाहिए। यो तो भगवान का पूजा होगा। हमारे देश सनातन धर्म का क्षेत्र है। हमारे भारत देश हमारे हिंदुओं का क्षेत्र है। हिंदुओं का एक ही क्षेत्र है, वो भारत। वो भारत के छोड़ेंगे तो हिंदू का राज्य स्टेट नहीं है। इसलिए सनातन धर्म का साकार मूर्ति, सनातन धर्म का प्रसव करने वाला माता जी, भारत माता का पुण्य दान यही है। इसमें हम सनातन धर्म करना ही चाहिए। यदि इसमें हमारे अवकाश नहीं मिलेगा, हमारे एक ही अवकाश है, वो हिंदू महासागर ही है, वही डूबना ही चाहिए। इसलिए हमारे एक एक स्थान है धर्म आचरण करने के लिए, वो तो हिंदू धर्म है, वो तो भारतीय है। इसलिए भारत सनातन दूसरे जगह में कैसे हम कर सकेंगे? हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने ये बच्चों का एक पार्टी में भाग लिए थे। वो तो ओलंपिक में विजय पाकर यहाँ पार्टी किए हैं। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उसमें भाग लिए थे। सारे बच्चों के लिए वे खिलाए। वे बच्चे पूछे प्रधानमंत्री के सामने, आप भी हमारे साथ खाइए। वो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहे, आज तो चातुर्मास्य है, मैं तो एक मुक्त करूंगा, दूसरा यह बहुत 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 अच्छा बात है। यह तो स्वाभिमान का बात है, हम तो गर्व से करना ही चाहिए। सनातन धर्म का साकार मूर्ति हमारे नायक हैं, यह तो हमारे प्रेम का बात ही है। वे कहे हैं, और एक टर्म मिलेगा तो भारत तीसरे जगह में रहेगा। हमारे भाग्य है, वो तो तीसरा नहीं और भी होना ही चाहिए। हम चाहते हैं, हम तो चाहते हैं चंद्रलोक जाना ही है। चंद्रलोक जाकर वहाँ अपना नाम परमानेंट किया, वो देश है हमारे भारत ही है। इसका नाम क्या रखे? बहुत अच्छा नाम ही है। उसमें अपने अपने अधिकार का नाम नहीं रखे हैं, हम अपना फैमिली का नाम नहीं रखे हैं, परंतु एक ही नाम ही है, वो तो ईश्वर शक्ति, भगवान ईश्वर के सिर पर रखने वाला चंद्र है। इसलिए चंद्रलोक में हमारे जगह मिल गया है। न केवल चंद्रलोक में, नेक्स्ट हमारे देश का प्रगति तो आदित्य लोक, रवि लोक तक हमारे पहुंचना ही चाहिए। वो तो भगवान ही कराएगा। हमारे तमिलनाडु का बहुत बड़ा भाग्य है, इसका राज्यपाल हमारे रवि नारायण यहाँ भाग लिए हैं। सनातन धर्म का एक ही लिंक है। सारे लोगों को प्लीज करने के लिए सनातन धर्म का निराकरण करेंगे तो देश का सुभिक्षा है, वहां तक आरोग्य से हम रहेंगे। जब धर्म का अकाउंट खाली होगा, हमारे आरोग्य दूर होगा। इसलिए वहां तक हमारे देश का समृद्धि होना चाहिए। इसलिए सनातन धर्म का निंदा नहीं करना, सनातन धर्म का निंदन एक निधि ने किया। रामचंद्र ने राम ब्रिज किया, इसके बारे में क्या प्रमाण है? वो पूछा, दूसरे बार कुर्सी में नहीं बैठा, आज तक नहीं बैठा। और अब एक निधि आया, वो तो निधि नहीं है, निधि आभास। क्योंकि लिए हमारे निधि वो निधि है, वो निधि है, वो सनातन धर्म ही हमारे निधि है। वो तो सनातन धर्म का निधि, इसका रक्षण करने वाला हमारे राज्य होना चाहिए। हमारे राज्य का पाल बहुत बड़े हमारे हिंदू धर्मों का प्यार करने वाले हैं। जैसे हमारे नायक रवि सूर्य भगवान स्वीकार करता है, उसको स्वीकार करके हमारे अच्छे पानी बारिश रूप में देता ही। आप देखिए, जब हमारे राज्यपाल इस मठ का प्रवेश किए तब तक नहीं था, जब वे प्रवेश किए वो तो रवि लोक से बारिश आ गई। तो बारिश हमारे आरोग्य का लक्षण है। गले जल को लेकर स्वच्छ जल के देने वाले हैं। इसलिए जो धर्माभास है उसको छोड़कर सनातन धर्म का रक्षण करने के लिए भगवान ही तमिलनाडु को भेजा ही है। इसलिए धारा सनातन धर्म का संरक्षण होना चाहिए, भगवान करेगा, ऐसा प्रार्थना करके बहुत बहुत काम तो सब छोड़कर हमारे साथ इस समय ये बैठे हैं, हमारे साथ साथ हमारे कार्यक्रमों में स्पंदन किए हैं। हम सब उनके बारे में प्रार्थना करेंगे, क्योंकि लिए धर्म का संरक्षण करने वाला का बारे में प्रार्थना करेंगे तो हम सब अच्छे रूप में रहेंगे। नेक्स्ट तमिलनाडु में कमलों का राज्य होना चाहिए, प्रार्थना करके
Sashtanga Namaskara to His Holiness Sri Sri Swamiji. We now request our chief guest for this Sanathana Utsava, Honorable Governor, to give his chief guest address. Please, sir.
गुरुर ब्रह्मा गुरुर विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परम ब्रह्म गुरुवे तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। परम पूज्य श्री श्री विद्याधीश तीर्थ स्वामी जी, other distinguished persons present here, all those distinguished persons who have been felicitated today for their extraordinary contribution to the society, all the persons associated with Palimaru present here, devotees, friends from the media, Namaskara. I feel blessed and immensely happy to be at this holy place in the presence of Param Pujya Sri Vidyadhis Tirtha Swamiji. In our traditions, since thousands and thousands of years, we know that the places where our Sant, our rishis have traveled. They have walked through. Those places become holy places, pavitra stha. And the place where they stay, as Swamiji has stayed here for Chaturmas, this becomes a tirtha for people to come to visit again and again. So I am very happy to be present at the tirtha and at the occasion which is the concluding time of His Holiness Chaturmasha, and it is called Sanatana Utsava. Sanatana Utsava, just about 2 weeks back, on 8th, 9th and 10th of this month, the whole world celebrated Sanatana Utsava in Delhi when we had the G20 summit. Because G20 summit under Bharat's presidency was done with the full commitment to Sanatana values, Sanatana Dharma, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. What we say here in Tamil, Yadu Mure Yavanikum. Today, the world has begun celebrating Sanatana Dharma. And at this time, we all, the children of Bharat Mata, we have a special responsibility. A special responsibility to take it, not only to assimilate in our day-to-day life, our dharma towards ourselves, our dharma towards our family, our dharma towards our society, to our rashtra, to eventually lead to our dharma towards the Vishwa Kalyana. And in this resurgence of Sanatana Dharma, our rishis, our sants, our saints, like Param Pujya Sri Vidyadhis Tirth Swamiji, they play a very, very significant role because they are the Margdarshak. We have, the rishis were all Margdarshak. They saw the path. In Bhagavad Gita it says, Mahajane yena gatena sapantha. So these great people, they saw the path for the rest of the humanity, for the rest of us to follow. This Sanatana Dharma, which doesn't have the origin, we do not know when it actually began, and certainly it is endless. But the first documented manifestation of Sanatana Dharma was in our Vedas. That is where it was first documented and articulated. The tenets, the principles, the essence of Sanatana Dharma. And since then, the light, this new light, which the rishis gave us, it has spread over a vast tract of land. We know that our Rashtra, our country Bharat, was not built by any king, was not built by any rulers. It is the Western, it is the European notion of a state that here is a king, here is a Bahubali who has an army, who conquers a territory, consolidates it, and that is called a country or a political state. Our Bharat is not such a country, it is a unique country because this country has not been built by any king. There is no account in any point of history in our time, in history, that there was one king who actually covered the entire stretch of Bharat, what we have. In fact, what we have today is Khandit Bharat. It is a broken Bharat. The Bharat in its original shape was much, much larger. From Shyam, Brahmadesh and Shyam in the east to Hindu Kush in the west, the western border of Afghanistan. This was Bharat. But this, such a large, magnificent Bharat, with so many kings, so many kingdoms, so many rulers, it was a Rashtra, where a person from one end did not feel the boundary of a state or a country, and he traveled or she traveled to the other end of the country for doing tirtha. My own grandmother from Bihar, she traveled to Rameshwaram, to Dwarika, to Kanchipura, all these places, Badrinath. She passed through different areas, so many, she was not aware of, she was passing through which kingdom, unmindful, they were not relevant, because every king was bound by the Dharma to provide assistance to all the people, those who traveled. They had made facilities for the Tirtha Yatris, for the pilgrims to stay, rest and recuperate, have free meals. And they traveled. And it was a mandate in the lifetime. Sapta Tirtham, the concept that we had, and we have even today, it was the wish of every Bharatiya to accomplish it. Everybody didn't do it, couldn't do it, but it was a dream. So this country, this Bharat, cannot be understood with the European notion, the Western notion of a political state. And that is why some people, they ask, Mr. Governor, tell me, who was the ruler? I wonder, I say, look, you are asking a very wrong question. Perhaps you do not know Bharat. And this lack of understanding, lack of knowledge of Bharat, which was the result of nearly 1,000 years of subjugation and over 200 years of colonization, during which the very idea of Bharat as a Rashtra was weakened. They tried to destroy it. And so the people, those who are educated in the modern education system, they have difficulty in understanding what is Bharat. And so they will say India. But what is India? Baba Saheb Ambedkar, the makers of the Constitution, the very first article of the Constitution, he writes, it says, India, that is Bharat. India needs introduction. India as it is understood in the concept with the understanding of European understanding of a state is not Bharat. India, that is Bharat. And so the Bharat, one who understands Bharat will not ask such absurd question about who was the king who did it. And unfortunately, after the British left, we didn't do much to introduce this Bharat to our people, to our children, through curriculum. And as a result, they have very little understanding. And it is our task today to introduce them to Bharat. When we say Bharat, Bharat is the result of, is a product of Sanatana Dharma. Because that's this Sanatana Dharma which is all inclusive. A person who is a true believer in Sanatana Dharma does not even reject those who deny themselves to be a Sanatana. Because here we say Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu. Not only humans but every being is like myself. My soul is the soul of all. These differences that we see, these are apparent differences. And in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says about that what we say is avibhaktam vibhaktesu. One which is indivisible looks divided. But this is Maya, this is illusion, this is apparent. Underlying all these differences, we are like on leaves of a tree. A tree has millions and millions of leaves. And if you have seen carefully, no two leaves are alike. But beyond the tree, it has no existence. It is organically connected with the tree. And all the branches, no two branches are alike. What we have sampradayas in our Bharat. We have numerous sampradayas. I do not know how many. Somebody said 130. I am not very sure. If somebody tells there are 1,000 sampradayas, I will agree very humbly. Yes, there could be. Because after all, our Rishi says, Eko sada vipra bauddha vadanti. So it's all right. You have your ways. So these sampradayas are like branches of that. While no two branches are alike, no two leaves are alike, they cannot, away from the roots, they have no existence, they will perish. And that root is Sanatana. And this drishti, this darshan of universal oneness, it has spread over the land, from the ocean to the Himalayas. The people of different regions, speaking different languages, with their differing food habits, living in different climates, imbued with this light of the Sanatana, their culture, their civilizational values, they all essentially reflect that universal oneness. Even among the people, and I have seen it, among the tribes of Northeast, among the tribes of Central India, they may not be educated, they may not be well versed in shastras or books, doesn't matter. But their worldview, their view about themselves and the people around, and the beings around, is essentially a reflection of Sanatana Dharma. I was in Udupi district. About a year back I had the experience. There are people, there are tribes. They have a season when they go for harvesting honey. But before they go for the season, harvesting honey, the whole village, they observe 3 weeks of vrata. They don't use the word vrata, they have their own term for it. turning vegetarian, doing some puja, and they walk into the forest singing certain song, which is other people call mantra. They go and pick the honeycomb. Honey is all around, no honey is sting them. They just pick up and bring. Look at the connect. The connect that they have. This is Sanatana. There is no discrimination. There is no distinction. Our Veda says, Te ajyeshtha, akanishthas, udvidho, madhyamasi. There is no shreshta, there is no down. No upper, there is no lower, there is no middle, we are all equal. How can there be any distinction in that? That is why in the Veda Ghosh, this recitation was going on. They said, Sangachadvam samvadadvam samvo manansi janata. Together we grow, together we prosper. This is Sanatana. And this bhumi where we are today, Tamil Nadu, has been a very holy place where the Sanatana Dharma has prospered during the period when the rest of Bharat was suffering the pangs of subjugation. And this Sanatana is present in over 100,000 inscriptions that we have in Tamil Nadu. Go to Uttar Meru in Chengalpet and see a stone inscription. Go and see Ennairam in Velupura and see the inscription. They are in the 9th century. The then king had established a Vedic college. Baguru, go to Tirunelveli, Manur, a stone inscription. They tell you about Sanatana. They tell you about Vedas. They tell you about the values of Sanatana. There are over 100,000 inscriptions. And those who say that they will deny or eradicate Sanatana, go and destroy all these, if you can. It is in the DNA, it is in the sanskar. You cannot. People have tried. Many have tried. It is not. In this way. Some people feel allergic to the moment reference to Veda. Tolkappiyam. When I came here, I started getting some ancient Tamil Sangam period and all the classical texts. Tolkappiyam, which is the revered grammar text of this most beautiful and ancient language, Tamil. Perhaps I don't see other than Sanskrit any language that can compare with it in antiquity. It is such a rich and vibrant language. And when Tolkappiyam writes Tolkappiyam, after completing this book, he goes and presents it. He goes to Pandiyan Darbar. He writes it all in the preface of the book himself. Tolkappiyam writes it. He presents it, he goes to the Pandiyan Darbar, and in Darbar, at the head of the Darbar was Atankot Acharya. He presents this book to him. And he introduces, Tolkappiyam introduces Atankot Acharya. Aram Karai Naven, Nan Marai Mutri Atankot Acharya. Well versed in 4 Vedas, and whose tongue only speaks of Dharma. Now the distortions that the people cause today by saying all kinds of negative things, they are doing so out of their selfish interest. They disregard the values of Sanatana. But Sanatana is indestructible. Today we have a special responsibility. I said that 2 weeks back the world has celebrated Sanatana in G20 Leader Summit. It is to the credit of our national leadership, the Prime Minister, who understands, who is a true icon of Sanatana Dharma. He understands Bharat. And he framed the whole G20 entire approach in such a way that there was little room for conflict among the countries who otherwise keep fighting with each other. Imagine. All the 83 paras of the leaders' declaration, they all agreed. There was no room for disagreement. Because Sanatana doesn't have any room for any contradiction. We are all one. Contradictions are apparent. There is no inner contradiction. There is no true contradiction. At a time when the world is acknowledging Sanatana, we have a greater responsibility. And that responsibility we ought to have been discharging right from the day one of our independence. Unfortunately, we have lost a lot of time. When this country, when Bharat became independent, on the day, Rishi Aurobindo, one of the great sages of rishis of this great country, Bharat, he wrote it. He wrote his dream. You know, Rishi Aurobindo was well versed in the Vedas, Upanishad. He said, now the moment has come for Bharat. The moment has come for Bharat to discharge its divine obligation. He says that in the entire universe, Earth is the only planet which is evolutionary, where consciousness is in the process of evolution. Jad, Chetan, Jeev, Manushya. You keep evolving to the higher level, to the level to reach that consciousness, the divine consciousness, to be one with the divine. This evolutionary journey of consciousness is only on this planet Earth, nowhere else. And on this planet Earth, Bharat is the only country where this Sanatana light came several thousands years ago, that we are all one. Not only humans, but animals and plants. We are all one family, one kutumbam. In a conflicting world, to save this world from self-destruction, this light must prevail. This light that we are all one, it has been reflected. It is not only in our Vedas and Upanishads, but our rishis from time to time, they have articulated in their own way, in their own language. Today we are celebrating the 200th anniversary of a great saint of this land, holy land, Vallalar. Vallalar was known for his Jeev Karunyam, compassion to all beings. And Jeev was not limited to only humans and animals, because he said, Vadi Pairei Kand Podelam Vadinem. When I see the plant withering, my heart withers. This is Sanatana. So at this point, Rishi Aurobindo said, we have to spread this light now to save the world. Vishwa Kalyan. For Vishwa Kalyan, Sanatana has to spread. For that, we have to be conscious of it. We have to be conscious of our responsibility. And anyone who is trying to eradicate it, anyone who is trying to do harm to it, we must realize their agenda is to break this country. Because the core strength of Bharat is Sanatana. So if you want to break this country, strike at the core. That is what the British did. They tried. And that is how they succeeded in breaking Bharat, making it Khandit. That was a single most tragedy that happened for Bharat when it was partitioned. Bharat cannot afford yet another partition. And those who are talking against Sanatana, their agenda is to break this country. And we have to be conscious of it. Not only conscious of it, we have to be conscious of our responsibility. Responsibility to spread this light with new energy, new vigor. And at a time when our country has entered the Amrit Kal, as our national leadership says, Prime Minister says, we have a responsibility. We know that Sanatana is indestructible, but that is not enough. We have to save the humanity, we have to save the planet. It is a much greater responsibility. And if we shun this responsibility, if we move away from this responsibility, we are going against the Sanatana. It is our duty to perform, to fulfill that responsibility. And for that, we have to do so with a sense of urgency. And the urgency which the Prime Minister has laid down for the country the next 24 years now, by 2047, by the time the country celebrates centenary of independence, 100 years of independence, Bharat must be, Vishwaguru must be in a position to prevail over the world. We have to be strong. We have to be strong, what Swami Vivekananda said. Swami Vivekananda, a great son of India, Bharat. He said, my dream of Bharat, of my dream, is one whose muscles are of iron, whose sinews are of steel, but whose heart and mind are Vedantic, compassionate. Jiva Karunyam, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. For that, we have to be strong even in our muscle and sinews. We have to be strong in science and technology. We have to be strong militarily, because Sukraniti says, Sanyada vina na rajyam na dhanam na parakrama balino vasaga sarve durbalasya cha shatruva. This light was there with us for several thousand years. But people didn't listen to it. Today they are listening. And they will listen more in coming days. We have to prevail. It is our duty. And in this period, next 2.5 decades, while we all have a great responsibility, so is the responsibility of our teachers to spread the light more and more. It is not the time for us to take a rest. No, it is not the time. We have a greater responsibility. And I am sure this Palimaru will continue discharging its responsibility with renewed vigor, renewed energy, spreading the light to the rest of the country and beyond. And I pray the further journey of our His Holiness will continue making the places holier. He will continue spreading the light wherever he goes. He will continue influencing people to commit themselves to the seva, because seva is Sanathana. That is what we are for. I thank you once again all. Again my humble pranam to Swamiji. Thank you very much. Jai Bharat.
Bharat Mata ki. Thank you, sir, for your excellent and most valuable insights. I'm sure we at Palimaru would take it forward in reaching the vision of our